like,
it's not always lazy, but I think that it's.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get to. Like, could it be something else?
I think it's subconscious.
Okay.
I think it's programming. I think it's because, like you said, if there are literally wealthy people right now where they have a trust for their children, they raise their children to be heirs. They get assets, they acquire them, they put them in the trust, they acquire them tax-free, their children do, and their children can continue where they left off, and that's how you build generational wealth. Okay. Now, because you've never seen that in your family and you don't have an example of that, that doesn't seem like it's a realistic goal to the average Black person.
Oh, for sure.
And because of that's my problem, is that at some point, you don't think that if I seen 4 people go to prison or end up, when do I say, oh, okay, I see where that's gonna go, let me go this way? There's a certain point where you have to say to yourself, well, why would I repeat the same things that I'm already seeing? If I want what you have, I would do what you did. And this is another reason why I'm glad that we're doing this, because talking about the relationship and the psychology of money and mind, I believe that, like we said, people have been bred to be a consumer. I don't think people even care for money. I think ultimately what you're looking for is that you want to be happy.
Yeah. And
that's really it.
And they tell us that that's the one thing that'll bring it.
But you know it's not.
Oh, I know.
You want happiness and you want fulfillment. You only get fulfillment, in my opinion, when you have a purpose.
Okay.
If you don't know what your purpose is, then you're never going to be fulfilled, which means ultimately you'll never be happy.
Facts.
Money is a conduit. It's just a tool. It's something that we use in order to exchange goods and services so that we don't have to barter. That's the only thing that money is good for. And the dollar itself is inherently worthless because it really does have it has really no value. The only thing that you need to buy that has value is assets, because assets can appreciate over time. But yeah, that was just like that misconception when it comes to time is money. I just wait. I really hate that idea.
Wait. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Money has no value, no real value, right?
No.
But you said the only thing that has value is assets, right? So I might be like, I don't want to ask a stupid question here, but if the assets you acquire from something that doesn't have value in the first place, well, then what makes the assets valuable?
That they can appreciate. The reason why the dollar doesn't have value is because, yes.
Okay.
So the reason why assets are valuable is because the dollar depreciates all the time. That's the reason for inflation. So if I have $100 right now, next year, my $100 may only be able to buy me $70 worth of stuff.
Okay.
So over time, my money is just eroding and becoming less and less valuable. Okay, so that means that no matter how hard I work, I'll always be working backwards, because this is always going to be something where I have to spend more time to get less. That makes no sense. When you buy assets, they actually will appreciate, which means I'm going to put $10 here. In the next however many years, my $10 will now be worth $20. Right. If you do that enough over a long period of time, eventually you'll start making enough money to where you never have to work again. Thus, now all of that whole time is money thing suddenly doesn't make sense anymore. That's how I see it now. I'm not sure if that makes sense to everyone else, but to me, that's how I see it. And I feel like when you see it that way, it just puts you in a different stratosphere when it comes to what you think that you can and can't do. And that's another thing that I feel like that crab in a bucket mentality, it really does keep us poor. And if we told more people what they were actually capable of doing, I do believe that they would be much further ahead than they already are. And I don't think that we ever get that.
Yeah, there's that's layered though. It's a lot
that
goes into that. And in certain environments, man, and I know personally that you could say that, you know, if somebody was giving information to the people, then that, you know, we might be better off. But coming from the bottom, it's like, bro, with everything going on just in the average household in a lot of these kind of communities, honestly, and it is a lot. Like the last thing on your mind when you're always in survival, not just for like bills, just even your life in some of these like neighborhoods and stuff, you don't really, and you could probably call shit, but you don't a lot of the times don't even have time to like start worrying about assets and stuff like that. You literally are in a situation where you are on a day, you surviving day by day. The last thing I'm doing when I'm in the streets is wondering about like like debt to income ratios and like that. And I do know that like it would be better if more of us did like commit to like what you're talking about. But like honestly, bro, it's not realistic in a lot of people's situations to even like, because that takes time, right?
And you know, the only pushback I have on that is I've heard that before.
Yeah.
But then I have a lot of people who they know the latest show on Netflix. They'll tell me Love is Blind. They have time to go to concerts. They have time to scroll, to just doom scroll on Instagram, on social media. They could laugh. They know every 20 verse 1 video where they. So you telling me that if you have even 30 minutes out the day to spend time on something, what we tend to do a lot, and only reason I'm saying that is because I've done it too. We tend to try to do things that help soothe us as opposed to actually addressing the root of a problem. So yes, I've had times where I've gotten off of work, and when I get off of work, I got like however much money I have to go run, do something fun, drink, whatever, hang out, have a good time just to get away from whatever it is I had to go through. And then, you know, that's the weekend, and Monday comes, you're back to work. And now you're just like, huh. But if I would have taken that same time and that money and I would have set it aside to go do something with, and I would have taken that time to educate myself, it could have made a difference. I'm not saying that it will. I'm not saying that it'll make a difference for everyone. I'm just saying that if there's a chance, I'll take it.
Right.
That's also
so,
I'm sorry.
No, you get the in the hood, the neighborhood, it's like this. You get people that come out, right, successful, right? Like, but it's not like the super common thing, right? Like not like it's so many out of 100 that's gonna be successful. Ask 100 people from my neighborhood if and I'm going somewhere with this. If they won, if you tell them, you know what, if you follow these steps over a period of time, you follow my steps, the credit, all that, over a period of time, you will be more successful than you are now. And then maybe me on the other end got those CPNs, or if I'm part of the scamdemic and I'm like, yo, but if you go to this Chase Bank, you're going to walk out with 10 racks right now. What's going to happen a lot of the time is they're going to choose the scam. And let me tell you why. This is because of the thinking process, right?
Easy.
It's easy, but not only that, the thinking process we have now, it does come from the generation before. It's the situation we're in, and the breaking the cycle is not as I'm just now starting to like get through that, and that took therapy and shit for me to identify. So it's like to break that cycle, it's gonna be hard, man, because where we come from, we already believe that the odds are against us, and in a lot of ways they are, and like. I'm taking what's here right now. Investing is cool, but a lot of people from where I'm from not really gonna buy into that.
You know what's funny? Someone told me if I cut corners, I'll keep running around in circles.
That was me.
I know it was you.
Yeah.
So you can't sit here and say that after you the one that told me that.
Oh no. I can say that, but I also said it took for me to go to therapy and to be able to identify what I was doing. I said that as well just now. Yeah. Because before that, I was cutting corners, running in circles. Now I have a better perspective on things, and it's an everyday struggle still to break. Because what's the first thing you do? The first thing you do is go back to when you're trying to change yourself. If things don't go right, it's hard. It's easier to go back to we're creatures of habits anyway. So it's easier to go back to what you know. So it's an everyday struggle. Some people, it's hard, especially at my age, bro. When you get older, especially, you stuck in your ways. So to try to change that is a hard thing. So if it's not taught to you when you're young, right?
Right.
Just a lot of times people just like, man, like it's like.
What I'm trying to say is you don't do it. You do it because it's hard. And because ultimately, the young dude who go to Chase and get 20 CPNs and get whatever that he gets, here's the problem with that, and we talked about it. I could give anybody $100,000 right now, and I know it's going to be somebody in the comments who's going to say something wild, but if I gave you $100,000 right now, I bet you would not know what to do with it. The first thing you would do is go spend it. And guess what?
No.
You'll end up right back to where you started. I can guarantee it.
You know what somebody in the comments is going to say?
What?
Somebody in the comments is going to say they're going to go see the Connect and double it. But what do you think about that? Like they took your 100,000, they made 200,000. Maybe not the way you said.
I think
not everybody's going to blow it.
I think if we're gonna use, if we're making,
but it doesn't have to be that.
I'm just saying, if we're making a parallel of if you could sell, then you could sell anything.
That's facts.
I'm gonna be honest.
I know. That's facts.
If you have this, if you have that mentality, that hustler mentality, it'll result in the same way. You can just find a way to do it and legitimize it. Also, think about the impact that you're gonna have on your community. There's a certain, you need to start thinking about what is the ripple effect of your actions.
Right.
And I think that needs to be something that's very prevalent when it comes to these conversations. And when you talk about money, giving out bad information can have repercussions overall that can hurt a lot of people.
Yes.
So,
and I totally agree with you on that. Now, because I'm more conscientious now with my decisions than I was a while ago. Now I look back on it like I feel like a piece of and a lot of things that I did for money, like to get money, like in the streets.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth what it seems like it's worth it. It's not worth it. Like once you gain a damn conscience, you're like, oh man, like I'm ruining lives behind what I would do.
Exactly. And then overall, even if fast money don't make it right, it don't make it good. And it doesn't even make it better if later on down the line you try to go back and clean it up. The best thing that you could do is arm yourself with information, education, and then actually implement it. That's another thing. Like it's really hard for people to take action, which I guess for me, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
Because my girl will go to work and she'll be like, I just want to cry. I don't want to go. She'd be so hurt to go to work. Like she don't want to go. But yet, here's the crazy part. She gets up and she goes to work every single day. Okay, when she gets off of work, I'm like, oh, why don't you take this time and you work on this, and that? Remember, you said you want to start this and that? No, I just want to relax. Oh, well, fam, then you don't really want it. If you gonna take the time, your free time, this little bit of time that you have to try to figure out how to get out of it, and all you want to do is relax, I'm sorry. Well, you don't want it enough. I guess you'll be going back to work and you'll be miserable. That's what I'm saying. Why,
give me an example of in that situation. Give me an example where it's not that you don't want it. Like, can you like give me like a perspective where it's not that they just don't want it. What could be something else that it could be?
I'll give you
besides like you just don't want it. Like what else could it be?
I have a question. She went to work, right? But she didn't want to go.
Okay.
Why did she go?
She has to.
Oh, okay. So if you took that same mentality and did that for your business or for anything else, I have to, wouldn't it not still apply and you would be able to see some results? I'm not guaranteeing anything, but I'm just saying, why don't you think about it like that? Why are you so quick to sell your time to this company, but yet you wouldn't spend the same amount of time for yourself?
I get what you're saying.
I just was trying to get a
perspective. Like, is it possible to when you can have like these aspirations, but is it possible to, because the way you're picturing is just basically just like you're just too lazy to go get what you want. But if you just boil it down, like you're like,
it's not always lazy, but I think that it's,
that's what I'm trying to get to. Like, could it be something else?
I think it's subconscious.
Okay.
I think it's programming. I think it's because, like you said, if there are literally wealthy people right now where they have a trust for their children, they raise their children to be heirs. They get assets, they acquire them, they put them in the trust, they acquire them tax-free, their children do, and their children can continue where they left off, and that's how you build generational wealth. Okay. Now, because you've never seen that in your family and you don't have an example of that, that doesn't seem like it's a realistic goal to the average Black person.
Oh, for sure.
And because 100%. Of that's my problem, is that at some point, you don't think that if I seen 4 people go to prison or end up, when do I say, oh, okay, I see where that's gonna go, let me go this way? There's a certain point where you have to say to yourself, well, why would I repeat the same things that I'm already seeing? If I want what you have, I would do what you did. If I want more, I have to do something different. That's why I'm saying when it comes to, and this is, again, great because it's a psychology behind all of this where we don't understand we've been programmed in order to remain this way. And if we were to actually address the issues and stop letting fear control us, be able to look at our ideas and know that it's a possibility that we can achieve all of these things and all these aspirations. So I don't think it's laziness, to answer your question.
Because that's the way it kind of came off. That's why I was asking you.
Then I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that for it to come off as everyone's being lazy, but I am. If you made as many solutions as excuses, you'd be where you want.
Okay, you know my little saying.
Exactly. So my thing is, everyone is. I'm telling you, why is it that you can have an excuse for why it won't work, but you can't give me as many for why it will?
So to the people that might be watching this, right, and with you saying all of that, what would be the?
I'm glad you said
that.
Yeah,
a person like me, and you know my background. What would be the first thing? How do I go from watching this to just step one? Like, what would somebody be doing?
Step one is to subscribe to this channel right now. If you haven't done it yet, then subscribe. That's step one.
The segue was crazy.
It is. Step two.
Go ahead.
Step two is going to be for you to get educated. And what I mean by that is, after you watch the videos, pull up your credit report, look at the information on there, start understanding the difference between a collection, a charge off, a credit card account, an installment loan. Start looking at what your score is. Know the difference between a Vantage score, a FICO score. This is very simple things that you can start with. Once you have an idea of where you are, the next step that you should choose is, how do I get this to where I can get funding? I have videos where I've been showing people how to get over $150,000 in business funding.
Right.
All right. The videos are on this channel. You guys can watch them. I've been documenting my own process. At the beginning of the year, I had I think a 600 something credit score. Right. The year prior, I had about a 403. Okay. And I was able, within a 24-month period, if I count everything, to go from that 403 credit score to being as high as the low 800s to getting over $170,000 in business credit line. And once you're able to get funded that way, then I would say that your next step is to figure out, how are you going to leverage this in order to create wealth?